computer. Okay. Okay, great. And now we're going to start broadcasting on Facebook. What was the name of the session? It was Tarot as a tool for
self-reflection.
That's good. Okay, Tarot.
That is good. You came up with that.
Great. Self-reflection, you write it like self and align and reflection.
Mm-hmm. You could do it that way. I've seen it done multiple ways, but that one totally works.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's wait. Okay, Dan, so we're live.
Hi everyone.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in my beach house. I'm getting some like holidays vibes. I'm in Chile right now, and as you know, here is summer. We are like
That's right.
in the opposite season. So now it's summer here, and I'm here enjoying the beach. And I wanted to connect to do this great broadcast about tarot. So are you ready to start?
I am. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for having me as someone who is a member of the group and a fan of these videos that you've been doing. Thank you. I'm so glad to be a part of it. So yeah, let's get into tarot. People say tarot, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, perfect.
I think there's no rules.
In Spanish, we say tarot, right? But in English, I guess people mostly say tarot. So before starting talking about that, can you do like a little introduction about yourself? Because I want the community to know you.
Absolutely. My name is Dan Testa. Hi, everyone. I'm based in Los Angeles right now, and I'm a tarot reader. I found tarot during the pandemic, and I was always a fan of tarot growing up. But growing up Roman Catholic, which I'm sure we might talk a little bit more about later today, tarot wasn't necessarily something that I felt welcome to. There were some stigmas about it. And so it wasn't really until my 20s into my 30s that I really decided to dive into tarot. And then the past 2 years have been me taking on a deeper understanding of it for myself, and then finding that I wanted to present it to other people and read for other people. And that's where I'm at with my journey right now. I started Testa Tarot a year ago this month. And I just want to continue to read for other people and take away the stigma. I want people to understand how approachable this is.
That's great. That's great. And actually, I don't know if I can share, but you made a tarot read to me like 1 year ago, actually. I remember. And I appreciate that. And I think that it was very helpful because I got a lot of insights from that read. I could understand better who I was and how to keep advancing in my life. So thanks for that.
I thank you.
Yeah. And first of all, I would like to talk about a myth. I think that is like the elephant inside the room. That's how you say that, right? The elephant in the room.
That's right.
Yes, because in my culture, tarot is something related to go to, I don't know, like a witch or something like that. And they tell you what is going to happen, okay? They tell you the future, right? So tomorrow you're going to get a new job, and then you're going to be fired, and your relationship is going to like end, and you're going to break up. That was my belief of what tarot was, okay? And then I knew you and everything changed. So can you, yes, you changed that. So can you explain?
I didn't realize that. You just blew my mind with that. Thank you for saying that. I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Yes, and in my mind, if you got like the tower, it means that everything was going to change, you know? So
right.
you needed to prepare.
And that's a beautiful way of saying it. I like how you said that. The tower, some people get really scared when they see the tower. And because it's about fire and destruction, the card, but it's about change. That's what it's about. Same thing with the death card. When we talk about that, people get so scared about these concepts. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let me break it down just so we can bring everyone, because I want people that have like zero understanding of tarot to come on and join us.
Can you explain what is tarot?
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a lot of people with my same like mindset, and maybe you can help us to understand what is.
I think the more we talk about the nuts and bolts, the less scary something becomes, right? The more we see behind the curtain. So let's take back the curtain a little bit and take a look. So to break it down, we got 78 cards, 22 major arcana, 56 minor arcana. So what does that mean? So major arcana are going to be the archetypes connected to life and its seasons and transition. So big life moments. That's what I usually say when I say major arcana. That's been about the cards that we've talked about so far: the tower, death, big moments in life. And then the minor arcana, that's going to reflect our day to day. So that comes out in our daily situations, revelations, and struggles. And then to break that down, the minor arcana, that's like it's broken down into 4 suits. So you can think of playing cards. There's the swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. And then within each suit, you have an ace card, a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. Again, like standard playing cards. So see, nothing scary so far, right, guys? So, and so that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of it. You can look up more about the history on your own. I do encourage it. But what I love about the history is that it's pretty mysterious. People don't really have like, this is exactly where it came from. People like to say Egypt. We like to think maybe that's where a lot of these archetypes came from. But it also originated as a deck of playing cards that was meant for nobles, and that was in Italy. And then the French also designed their own decks. So it's gone through so many different iterations that I do encourage everyone to take a look at that, but I don't think we should get too hung up on the history. I think it's more about what we make of it now. And it's very much a grounding tool for me. That's how I approach it. I like to read for myself every day. Not to get too excessive, but I'll pull 1 tarot card every day. And what it does is, it's not necessarily so much about telling your future, like you said. It's about looking within at that present moment. We're not talking about going into your past. We're not talking about living in the future. That's why I find it so grounding. It really is just holding a mirror up to myself for the day. And what comes out is what I glean from my own introspection. The cards aren't going to tell me anything necessarily that I don't already know. And same thing for me. If you come to me and I read your tarot cards, I'm not going to tell you your future and tell you it's set in stone. I don't believe that. All I want to tell you is how maybe your past can influence your future, how you've gotten to where you presently are, and if you're happy there, how you can maintain it. But most of the time, it's talking about how I can invite more growth into my life from my present moment. How can I expand? That's what I've been going to tarot for.
I have a question. So even what I'm hearing, this is a co-creation process, meaning it's not that I'm going to visit you and I'm your client and you're going to read everything and tell me what's going to happen. It's more about you're going to show me a reflection of my life by the cards, and then we are going to co-create my reality and reflect upon it and then design a future. Is that, am I okay?
I love that. I love that description. Yeah, it's absolutely co-creation. It has to be, because no one knows you better than yourself. And I think that if you go to someone and you're looking for them to tell you what to do, that puts you at a disadvantage, doesn't it? Isn't that a little bit of you giving your power away? And what I want to be is a source of self-empowerment. which is the difference of like a guru and what I would want to do for someone, which is create a nice space for you to explore your own divinity, your own, and when I say divinity, I don't want to get too woo-woo with everyone, but I think a lot of us are open-minded here, so we can get a little woo-woo. Do you know what I mean when I say a little woo-woo, like a little witchy, a little ghost,
Yes,
you know?
but when you say divinity, when you say divinity, sorry, divinity,
Yes,
divinity,
yes,
okay.
yes,
What comes to my mind is awareness.
yes.
To me, you know, awareness, because it's related to reflection, to understanding what's happening, to making new connections that were not made in the past by me, you know, and maybe you're going to allow me to see something new for my life.
That's right, but it's you seeing it. I can only tell you my interpretation of the card. And then what that's going to do is bring out something in you. You're going to see, we're going to pull some cards in a little bit so everyone can kind of see, but there's so many beautiful, big images that the book only tells part of the story. When I say the book, I mean, I like to reach out to my guidebooks, you know, I don't go too far, but a lot of this is about interpretation. So I want to listen to what the book has to say, but I want to focus on that image and see what it brings out for me. That's the mirror aspect.
Right. I have a question, because who would you say that are your ideal clients? Meaning, who are the people that can go reach you and have a session with you? People that have are interested in what?
I would say if you're interested in doing shadow work, if you're interested in doing your own self-healing, introspection, and you want someone, sometimes I use the analogy of you have your own compass. I am not here to tell you that your compass is wrong. I'm not here to say that it should look like my compass, because they're all different. But what I can do is you can say, hey, I think my compass is going in this direction. Can you take a look at it and see if the magnet is like in place? Like I can look at that part and say, you're going in the right direction. You're going in the right direction. But I'm not going to tell you what that direction is. You know what I'm saying? This is about you. Making your own self-empowered decisions. So who would I want to come see me? I would want people that maybe have trouble remembering their divinity. Maybe people that have I said earlier today, what I want to do for people is help them remember their magic. Everyone is magic. Everyone has, you know, this is me getting woo-woo, but I want to say at the bare minimum here, maybe we can all agree that we are spirits, we are souls having a human experience, meaning that there's something beyond this. There's something beyond the mundane. There's something beyond what we see every day. That's what I want to serve to people. If you're having trouble remembering, glitter, a little bit of sparkle in your life, if things are just, you're feeling weighed down by the mundane, at least I can have a conversation with you about your spirit and about how everything that you encounter on this plane isn't it. You know, people like to say, is there more than what we have? I gotta say, I want to believe, because if not, this can turn into a funeral dredge. This can be this could be very depressing to walk through life without remembering that there's more to it than what we see every day.
Right. When you talk about the divinity, it's difficult for me to say that word. I struggle. Divinity, right? When you talk about divinity, yes.
Yes.
For me, divinity is related with purposes, right? And I think that the universe and divinity has a purpose for us. Okay, and this is my interpretation. So people that are like listening to us maybe can not agree, but it's okay because we all have interpretations. But what I think is that when we disconnect from divinity, we lose our sense of purpose, and we don't know how to advance, and then we get stuck in our lives. So what I'm thinking is that a person that is lost, meaning lost that are not happy or don't know the next like movements or the next decisions or don't know what to do with their lives, I think that for examples are a good fit for you in terms of clients, because they are going out of a session with you with answers.
Absolutely.
And they're going to get connected with their purpose, with divinity. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Am I right?
Yeah, you're totally right. Yes, absolutely. I want to help you remember, like I said, that's why I like the analogy of the compass, because it is your path and you may just feel a little lost, you know? And so that's, I want someone to come to me and leave feeling a little less lost, feeling more understood, and feeling like they have the tools that they need in order to push themselves forward, that self-empowerment.
Yes, and I wanted to add something that I feel that the world today is hard and we tend to live in automatic, like doing, and we never stop to like connect with ourselves and with our purpose and with the divinity. So I think that having instances like this are really helpful. And I think that are spaces that are needed. Actually, I think that this community is a project related to that, like giving to the gay community a space to connect with themselves. And I think that tarot allows to do that.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I was so happy to see you agree that tarot does belong in a space where people are talking about wellness and talking about well-being and mental health. Like, it is part of the conversation. It can be. I've seen, you know, there's different studies done, and I have a friend who's currently going to school to be a psychologist, and what she has told me is that they have people that bring tarot into sessions, and that just proves what that proves for me is that there's many approaches to tarot, meaning that if you don't necessarily connect with the part about your spirit, if I lose you because I'm talking about divinity, at least you can see it from a grounding perspective of seeing an image, witnessing, just observing what that brings up for you, your subconscious, right? This is a little bit Freudian, but that's what it can also do for people.
I love it. I love it. So do you have like more information to give us about tarot that you would like to share this night?
One thing that I kind of wanted to, you and I talked about this a little bit before we started about what is something that we really want people to get from this. It's the destigmatization for me. That's what I'm hung up on. So anything that I can tell people about the cards that I think would make them more accessible, that's what I would love to share. So one thing I would share with everyone is, I know we talked about Roman Catholicism a little bit before and its influence on tarot. There's a lot of the archetypes do have some religious imagery. It is very much embedded, but I don't want that to turn people off because we have so many modern interpretations. So if you feel like that's one of the things that would separate you from getting into tarot, I want to say imagery is imagery and it belongs to everybody. So if you feel that maybe, if you feel a little bit like what's keeping you away is, for me, it would be like religious dogma, like being told it's wrong, being told it's from the devil. You will find that there's so much more that you relate with than disagree with. It's just so much about, like I said, our day-to-day situations and struggles. Who can identify with that?
Right, right. You know what I'm thinking? That because in my culture, I'm from Chile, and in my culture, like Catholic people say that reading the tarot is something bad that you should not do, you know? But I think that when it comes to my culture, it is because some people use the tarot as a way to predict the future and tell you what is going to happen, not as a self-help tool where I am going to make some like introspection and reflection about myself, and I'm just using the cards as a way to ask questions to myself.
Well, I think the way that you put it beautifully, you use the word tool. It's a tool. And
Yes.
so, yes, people weaponize all kinds of tools. And there's ways to weaponize all different kinds of tools. So I believe, this is my belief, that, and this is going to be a spicy hot take, so get ready if you weren't ready for it, guys. But because of the religious imagery within the cards, I think the church needed to have a stance on it. And I think it needed to be that this does not represent us and you should not partake in this. Also, this is a hot take, but I think if a lot more people are being introspective and not looking to the Pope for guidance or someone of authority for guidance, isn't there a threat to power? Isn't there then people worry that people will stop going to church? And if people stop going to church, won't they stop putting money into that building? And if the money stops coming in, I think we follow the money. I think that's where that's where I'm going with it. So that's my spicy take on it, was that it was deemed too powerful of a tool because it did give us a sense of our own divinity. And if we can remember that without someone else telling us what to do and how to see our own divinity, that's giving us too much power. That's my take anyway.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And it's good because you know what? Like we're talking about perspectives.
That's right.
And tarot gives perspectives. And you are giving perspectives and I'm giving perspectives. And hopefully people that are hearing us can make their own like perspective of this topic, you know?
And that's what you said before we
Yeah.
I'm glad you started the conversation with that. We're not here to tell you what to do. This
Exactly.
is not, we're not saying this is the word, this is the law. We are having a conversation and we invite you too to have opinions and have a conversation with us.
Exactly. Yes,
yeah.
I love that perspective. So like, it is great. Would you like to add something else then? Related to tarot and information that people like might be helpful?
No, I mean, so I'm gonna start pulling some cards for everyone. So I think maybe with that, some questions might come up and we might be able to talk a little bit more about the card specifically, and that might bring up some things for us. How do you feel about that?
Yes, and I'm very excited. Like,
good, I'm excited too. Thank you.
I want to like know what's going to happen. Yes, I'm intrigued.
So I'm intrigued as to where I want you. I want everyone to be curious and open-minded. That's the best way to open into this. The first thing I want to say, though, is if you are joining us, I am offering everyone in our wellness group $20 off a reading with me. So if you would like to book with me, you would just reach out to dantestataro@gmail.com or find me in the Facebook group. Just mention that you've maybe watched our live here and you automatically get $20 off a reading with me. So I invite you to take advantage of that. But right now, if you're watching, I just want to pull some cards for the collective. So I'm just going to pull some tarot cards. I like to say that it kind of takes the temperature of the room. It kind of checks our pulse, sees where we're at. And then from there, I also have some oracle cards. Now, the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards are going to have something like this, a very strong image. Mm-hmm. Now, and it's less about the words on that. And then here we've got an oracle card, and this is less about the image, which is beautiful, but we've got lovely messages here. So I'll be reading a couple of those as well to kind of show everyone how things tie together. I think that's kind of the magic is, like I said, the history is kind of shrouded in mystery, which I like. And if you were to ask me the science of this, I can't really give you the numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of faith if you want to go there. If you don't want to go there with the faith, then like I said, this is just a nice grounding tool for self-reflection. So choose your own adventure, everybody. I'm not here to tell you how to feel, okay? All right, so with that said, I'm going to pull some cards for everyone here. This is going to be collective messages. It may not resonate. That's okay. Take it all with a grain of salt. And if you don't like the taste, just spit it out. No one's going to say anything, I promise. So take a deep breath, everyone. Exhale whenever feels good for you. All right. So let's see, how are we all feeling today? That's going to be my question. How are we all feeling today? Maybe there's going to be a collective feeling in the room.
Let's see.
Okay. So we got the 10 of discs. We did get it in reverse. Let's hold it upright.
Okay.
So discs that's going to be pentacles or money or coins or something you value as much as money. So that could also be physical health, but it's something tangible when we're talking about this earth sign energy. 10 is going to be a number of completion, of culmination. It is in reverse. So maybe for me, this is a feeling of, it's just not what I'm getting a feeling of. It's just not in sight, or that we're so close to the finish line, or we're so close to our abundance. And that doesn't have to be just money. This is also, I'm feeling, this is a security. So whatever security, I think, whatever that means for everyone in the collective, maybe we're feeling a little bit disconnected from it. Who can blame you? I mean, you kind of see this house upside down. You see the peacocks, which are beautiful and lovely, but they're upside down. So all that means to me is maybe we're having a little bit of trouble seeing our own beauty, seeing our own abundance. Remember, everyone, abundance is not just money. It's the friendships that you're making. It's the chosen family that you've been able to come up with. There's so much pride to be taken in that. So yeah, just to put myself on the table, if I was looking at this and maybe I pulled this today, maybe it would be a feeling of I'm putting too much of an emphasis on money. So what I'll do is I'll take my little journal and I'll write a little bit about that, see what that brings up for me. And maybe it's a little bit of, oh, I've been stressing so much lately about finding a new job that I forgot that I get to have a great conversation with my friend Ro today. And I should really look forward to that more than dread about the money. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just my own personal, what I would say would this could possibly bring up for me, and the way I would interpret that. So with that said, if that is kind of the temperature in the room, we're feeling a little like we're climbing up that hill and we just can't get there yet. It's kind of like someone keeps moving the finish line. I also saw that just now, this thing of like, every time we see it, it's like someone just moved the goalpost. It's like,
Yes.
and doesn't that kind of just feel like where we're at with the pandemic right now, this thing of getting new information, it's changing, and then applying the new knowledge, and we just feel like someone keeps moving the goalpost.
Yes. Well, to me, the card like makes sense. That's what I want to share, because, and actually I can relate that with my entrepreneur life. You know, I feel that I'm in a moment where I'm opening possibilities, opportunities, everything. And I'm craving to get to that point where like you get the goal. Like
Right.
You finished. Like you say, like,
that's right.
Here I'm done. Like this is how it works. I understand how things will go, you know? And I'm experiencing that, like I can't get to that point. And it feels a little frustrating, like, to be honest. Like I feel frustration, sometimes I feel lost. And then I think that my job is to like return, go back and continue and keep focus, right? But that card makes a lot of sense to me. And I understand, because it's like doing. Actually, I think that I told you, like, before starting, that my experience was of doing. And it's interesting because I'm doing, but I don't feel stressed. You know?
You had mentioned that there's a difference between feeling busy and being stressed.
Which is interesting, because sometimes I feel that I'm doing, and I'm stressed, and it's like, and I feel that I'm going to like have an emotional breakdown. But right now it's like, no, I'm not stressed, but I'm doing. And I want to get the result.
And do you know what that tells me is that you've done some internal work. That tells me that your coping mechanisms are helping you at this time. That's what I'm feeling, right? Because think back, maybe there was a time when you would have just felt like not just busy, but overwhelmed and just letting it, you know, like, I think that's something to think about, is the way what changed was not, you can't just say the feeling changed. Like, why did it go from busy? Why did it go from you feeling stressed out to now just feeling busy? You're the difference. I want to remind you of that. So look at that. You are getting a little bit of a reading with me today, but that's what we do here. You're the difference. It's how you're handling it, and how you're handling yourself, not beating yourself up. If you understand that there's deadlines, you understand all that, but you also understand that there are things that are out of your control. And I think what you're doing is going with the flow a little bit, or maybe just not beating yourself up when things don't necessarily go the way you think. Does that resonate for you?
Yes, a lot. And I think that is the result of like years of self-work,
Yes, that's your
Yeah.
work. That's
Yes.
you.
No, I agree. And that is what I offer too. That's the way that I try to help people. So it makes a lot of sense to me. Yes. And I was thinking that when you were talking about humanity, and how, like, I remember when the virus started and we were expecting to, I don't know, like that the vaccine will come and then this was going to be over. And now we are like living this nightmare like again and again and again. And we really are starting the third year of the pandemic and we don't know when this is going to end.
No. So
So it's
what
like,
can we?
it's the experience of
So
like reaching something and then like that goes away and you can't pick it. You know what I'm saying? That experience.
yeah. It's also, I don't know if we've got people that like Charlie Brown, but I always think of like when Charlie Brown goes to kick the football and then Lucy's always there to take the football before he gets to kick it. We're kind of always waiting for that other shoe to drop. We're waiting for this other thing to go wrong. Something else came up for me as you were talking. It was definitely about the work that you've done to get yourself here. One thing was I wanted to point out to you that you do such important work, and it is because that you've been able to take care of yourself so well that you are then able to go out and help other people. I'm someone who has to be reminded sometimes that it's not, I had it in my mind a little bit. I got so hung up on wanting to help other people that I just felt like, oh, I just want to read everyone's tarot all the time. I want to help everybody. But what happens is if I'm helping everybody all the time, I'm not helping myself along the way. So there really has to be a balance there. And I think that's what I'm currently learning is that balance of I'm helping me, and then I'm helping other people because of the work that I've been able to do for myself. It's not the other way around of I help so many people and that's how I help myself. I feel so good about myself because I'm able to help all these people. It doesn't really work that way. And so I do want to give that to you as well, as someone who helps a lot of people and has so much outreach, that it starts with all the work that you've done on yourself. It doesn't mean a hill of beans if we haven't gone through the experiences and have the life experience to show people, to be like, hey, this is how tarot worked for me. Maybe it can work for you. We're not here to fix people. We can't. But what we can do is say what helped work for us, and maybe that works for someone else.
Right. That's right. I'm thinking, like, given that card, what are the directions, indications that you could give to someone with that card for the future,
I'm so glad you said that because I am shuffling just for that reason. So I'm about to pull a card for us from the Healing Mantra deck. So this is going to be a healing message, and it will have to do with that 10 of discs. But one thing that I would just offer up is that if you do feel the disconnection of your abundance, like I'm doing, is I'm going through a job search right now, and I'm really trying not to have all of my self-worth tied into getting a job. It's like I'm worthy of love because I'm Dan Testa, because I'm a human in this, having a human experience, not because that I'm going to have this job. It's like you said, like I just want to reach for that ending. You're like, I'm just ready to arrive. I'm ready to get that thing so that I'm done. But the thing is, we're never done. That's also what I'm getting from this, because the number 10 is, when it's reversed, I mean, it's 10 is also 1 plus 0. If we're talking numerology, 1 plus 0 is 1. So every ending is another beginning. All that to say, we're never done. So what I would say is to someone, if you are hung up about this ending, this thing that you think is going to be the button, the period on the sentence or icing on the cake or whatever this thing is, imagine how it feels to get it. Imagine you've already gotten it, because then the question is going to be, now what? Now I feel, did you feel satisfied? Did you feel the ultimate fulfillment? Maybe you didn't. What I think of for myself is, when I get that other job, it is going to make my life easier, and it will feel awesome to have another source of income, and that doesn't hurt. But is it going to make my friendships any brighter? You know, is it going to make my family love me more? Is it going to do these other things that only I can do for myself and give myself self-worth? No, it's not. So think about how you think you're going to feel, and then say, okay, it's going to feel great, but it's not everything. It's not. So I would say then also, if it's about money, don't let money be your downfall, where you're just counting your money. It's like Scrooge, right? I mean, there's a reason why these old stories, we keep telling them year after year about, you know, what good is having all your money if you're just alone and hoarding it and just, you know, I mean, it doesn't stop the world having millionaires, thank you very much, and billionaires, but they should read those stories more, I think. But let's pull a card. I got a card for us. So the message that I got is overcoming fear. And the message here is, I will transcend every loss. One more time, I will transcend every loss. What that makes me think of is, there's always going to be something else to reach for. There's always going to be another job. You know, I don't think that we arrive at anything. I don't think that we arrive at that job and we stay there forever. Some people do, but I don't know if that's a thing. Not for me. So it's like, even if I do get this new job and I do feel a little bit more kick-ass about myself, there is still going to be a tomorrow that I have to deal with. There is still going to be me and how I feel about myself alone, you know, when no one's looking. So I need to get right with that. That's what I'm feeling. And overcoming fear is just like, overcoming some imposter syndrome. I was so excited to talk to you today, but I was also nervous. You know, it was a good nervous because I was excited to share, but it was a little nerve-wracking I get that way before recordings. But I just said, we're doing this, you know, it's going to be great. And even if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter, because humans aren't perfect. So that's okay.
Right. Yes, you know what I was thinking when you were talking? I want to go back a little, because you said like very deep things that I would like to go over them again. Yes, because sometimes we want a specific goal and we attach to that goal. Okay, and we think that our life is going to be perfect, or that we are going to be happy, and we start giving to specific goals other meanings that are deeper. And then we have the experience that if we lose that goal, then we are lose the other meanings too. And all of that is an illusion. So what I can understand from what you're saying and the last card is that if you lose it, then you're going to find something new. So don't attach.
You said the magic word, attach.
I think that is
I'm trying,
right? So
I think that's the true magic, a life of less attachment. The less we're attached to our labels, the less we're attached to our identities, you know. I think I read that somewhere, that your 20s is all about accumulating these different name tags and these different identities. It becomes so important for us to categorize ourselves. I am a gay man, I am, you know, it's attaching all these things. And then so much of our 30s is a little bit of relaxing and taking off those labels and just not being so attached to them, because at the end of the day, that attachment, what I think it is being able to define ourselves so that someone else can't define us. And it's this very defiant thing, whereas there's a lot more release involved with not being so attached, with just saying, I can call myself whatever I want. You're going to have your own your own idea of me, and I can't control that, and you are entitled to your own opinion. And isn't that beautiful? And isn't that life? And isn't it none of my business what you think of me? I also love that quote. It's none of my business what other people think of me. It's not. This is a very private space for everyone. So yeah, I feel like I went on a tangent there. Bring me back to earth, feel free. But that's
No. It's okay. It's okay. Like, and the message I think is like, don't attach. Like,
don't attach.
you can pursue the goal. You can want that, but if you don't get it, or if you lose it, then that doesn't mean that you lost everything. And you always have yourself and the resources to go back and find something new.
I love that. And that's all we have is ourselves. I love that you just, you know, it's like, and that's all we have. That's all you can, we don't have control. We like to think that we have a lot of control over our day to day and over our life. We don't have a whole lot of control. And so that's why it's so important to take control where you can find it, personal autonomy. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Boundary setting, you know, just kind of being okay with saying no. Those kinds of things is where it can start for people.
Right. I love this conversation because if people are watching this video, maybe live or recorded, like they can understand what's the value of the work, you know, because you came up like with a card, and we started perceiving the card and making some interpretations, and we have been discussing different possibilities for the future. That's what we're doing, actually, so people can have a better idea of the power of tarot, given, right, the work that is needed to be done.
Right.
Because this is
right.
And if they notice, it's a work of reflection, talking, discussing, sorry. Like, we are discussing different topics from different perspectives. And that's it. And that's how, with discussion, you can see new opportunities. And with that, you define a new path for your life.
I love that so much. Discussion. And the way that you're talking about discussion, what it brings up for me is storytelling. That's also all we have. Is storytelling, telling each other our stories, and maybe people can learn from it. Maybe it helps that someone not feel so alone, because it's like, oh, they were embarrassed by that thing. I was embarrassed by that thing. Oh, wow, that makes it less embarrassing, I guess. You know, there's so much joy to be found in sharing experiences. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. That's beautiful. And doesn't that tie into tarot? It's storytelling. That's what I'm doing. When I'm pulling cards, it's giving me an inspiration to talk about your story. And that's what it should bring up for you, your story. What does it speak to you about? What aspect? I love storytelling, and I'm also a singer-songwriter. I just love stories in so many different aspects. I love movies. I love horror movies. I think just there's so much learning and so much about the human experience to be found in stories and storytelling. I just can't say that enough.
Yeah, that's great. I'm thinking about reflection. Actually, I wanted to share with you that what I'm experiencing right now in this conversation with you is that, like, I took a time to land, to connect with myself, and to have a new focus, to create a new focus, you know? I think that I have more clarity right now. I understand where I was, what I was focusing on, and what I want to focus right now. And I think that is the space that the people that are willing to, like, set an appointment with you and have a session are going to create for themselves too.
Absolutely. That's what I would love to serve as, is just a place for you to just stop time for a minute and get some grounding and just lay out all the pieces. Just lay out all the pieces so that you can see them in front of you, and me. I think that's the benefit of having someone else read for you and with you, is that you've got someone else in the room, not leading you, not telling you what's going on, but just someone who's able to say, this is what it brings up for me, and I wonder if that resonates with you. I don't think there's any harm in that. One particular way how I read is, I say that I break it into 3 parts, where we talk about your past. I break out 3 cards that talk about your recent past. So not childhood, but like maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, just so that I think we need a little bit of that hindsight. I think we just need a little bit of that to lead us into the story. Because I think we could just jump into the present situation, but I also think that would rely on me having the person tell me exactly where they're at, being like, okay, you tell me where you're at. But this way, I get to lead into it without them having to tell me anything. I prefer them not telling me mostly. And so then the second row of 3 cards is going to be reflective of the person's present moment. And then, as we've been saying this entire conversation, I don't believe in fortune telling and I don't tell the future, but my last row of 3, I say we can talk about the approach for your future. I don't think there's any harm in talking about someone's approach for the future, especially when we're talking about how it's been influenced by the past month. And then maybe that person can say, oh, this hasn't just influenced my past month. We're talking about something that goes way back. And then that's that other person's homework if they want to follow that and go down that rabbit hole. I love working in conjunction with talk therapy. I think whatever you are into is great, everybody. I think there's room for all of us. That's the other thing I want to say too. That's why I'm so excited to be a part of this wellness conversation with you, is that tarot belongs at the table. I'm not trying to take over the table and flip the whole thing over. I'm saying, I think if we all come together and all talk about our different stories and the tools that we found helpful, what's the harm? What's the harm in you talking to me about what helped you and me saying, well, hey, have you tried tarot? Like, I want it all. I want everyone to tell me what works.
Right. I have a question, because you had 2 types of cards, right? You had the first card that was from one type, and then the second card that was from the healing, right?
Mantra deck. Mm-hmm.
Deck, that's the word, a deck. So I have a question, because when a client goes and like the client has a session with you, you work with both decks, or you have more
I
decks?
do. I've got even more. In fact, I'm shuffling another deck for us because I think we all deserve another card here. But
okay,
my special ingredient, my special sauce, that's what I like to say. So it's interesting. Thank you for asking me this question. I'm really excited. So one thing about the way that I read, I don't necessarily have a spread that is just for love, a spread that is just for money and career. I've worked on one spread, and I have found it to be beneficial across the board. And I say that because you might come to me with a love question, but if money comes up and we talk about that a little bit more, we might find that there's a connection between your relationship with material things and maybe how you feel about yourself and others in relationship. Maybe. This is all maybe. But with that said, that's why I've worked on this one spread that I feel like it really is one size fits all without it feeling generic, because it's always personal. But what I do is I take tarot cards first. So that's going to be the 3 rows of 3 that I talked about. And then what I'll do is I'll take out 3 oracle cards from 3 different decks. So we got the healing mantra deck. We've got the moonology deck, which sometimes I like to call the subconscious hidden message. So maybe it's like the underlying theme of the reading. And then lastly, I also have these beautiful shadow cards, which I say we talk about shadow work. Sometimes this highlights an aspect of shadow work, I find. So I like to integrate all of these cards at once, and it's not overwhelming. What you find is, what I have found, there's a beautiful synchronicity between all 3. Sometimes it's color. Sometimes, I I find that all three at the end have the same color scheme, which I love. I think that that's fun. But even more importantly, not just the colors matching, but the messages that come through are connected. And that is the real through line.
That's great. That's great. So you said that you were going to read to us another card?
Yeah, I'm going to pull another card for everyone. So I like to say,
I'm excited. That's why I asked.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here and that you've been just so welcoming. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate being here. So if the tarot cards are, like I say, the story of you, then I say that the oracle cards are going to be the moral of the story. If it's a song about you, then these are, because sometimes I like to say that they're stanzas. Each row is a different stanza, a different verse about you. Then this would be like the chorus, you know, we get to hear what this song's about. So let's get a little bit more advice in terms of overcoming fear, and especially how that came up with this disconnection of the 10 of discs. And honestly, I think sometimes I say a card that's in reverse is either a delay or a disconnect from that feeling. So also what that could just be saying is patience, just patience, you know? Things are going to happen. You're going to cross that finish line when the time comes, but it's in divine timing, not your timing. It will. It's going to happen. Like you said, like it's not over until we're dead. That's it. That's when it's over. So if we're still alive, it's not over.
True.
All right. All right. Let's pull another card, shall we?
Yes. And actually, I'm very excited. Like I'm anxious. I want to know the card.
Oh, good. We got color coordination. So just to let you know, we got purple and purple.
Okay.
Just saying.
Great.
Okay. So that's why I'm excited. Okay. Okay. So the message here is first quarter moon, your commitment is being tested. Your commitment is being tested. So a little behind the scenes, I actually pulled this card for myself earlier this morning. So I can talk a little bit about what that brought up for me, for sure. So as I had just said, with the idea that we're so far away from our goal, it just feels like not only is it out of reach, but it's almost unreachable. We have to have tests put into our way so that we can overcome them. And it's not just so that we can overcome them, as we've talked about storytelling today. It's so that you particularly, and I think people that are in this group might jive on this idea that we want to help ourselves. And then we talk about it, and then we tell everyone how we helped ourselves. That's why we go through the challenge. It's not just so that you can overcome it yourself, but so that we can go back and be like, hey, I figured out how you get over this wall. You just got to get this rope down over here. I'll show you, like there's not a whole lot of people that want to share information. So I think that it's really important to pride ourselves in not gatekeeping and wanting to lift everyone else up. Just because we help someone else up doesn't mean that we have to be lower. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to necessarily give up so much in order to help others. We have that idea in society that in order for people to have more, I have to have less. That's a very American thing, if I do say so myself. But it's a little universal, but I can only speak to my
Right,
home.
but it's like win lose, not win-win.
Yeah, not win-win. Exactly. Someone's got to lose, and that's not it. But also, I want to say your commitment is being tested, but you're not being punished. That's also what I want to say, because I do feel like that's kind of been a theme overarching, especially this past week, of feeling like if I can't reach my goal, there's something wrong with me. If I'm not doing this thing, there's something wrong with me. And it's like, no. It's just, sometimes I read something today that was, sometimes it's not always about reaching the next level. Sometimes it's about taking the information you just gotten, processing it, and then letting it come through. But we have to have that moment of integration first, of downtime, of letting ourselves, like for me, it's about I keep talking about this, I need to find a new job in order to support myself. But at the same time, I know what my calling is. I love tarot. You can't tear me away from it. So I know that this isn't going anywhere, and this is always going to be a part of my plan. But we talked about attachment earlier. I can't get so hung up on the attachment that I even know what this new job is going to look like. I have to keep myself open. I know I kind of just went into a tangent there. I'm sorry, but it's just, that's how the thoughts come sometimes. I'll be honest, especially if I'm doing the reading thing. So let me see if I can, did that land? Did something in there land?
You know what? Like, I need to be very honest. Like, I hate that card. Like, and not specifically that card, but the meaning of that card, because it's like, what it says, like your commitment is going to be tested or something like that.
Your commitment is being tested.
Right. So it's like,
right.
When I'm going to stop being tested. Like, I don't want to
right.
with that. But it's interesting because given what we talked, life is like that.
And we're never done being tested, bro. That's what I was gonna say. You were like, well, when are we done?
Yes,
I was like, we're never done.
And in different aspects of our life. And each person has their own challenges. So that's how it is. And you can take it like as a terrible cycle that is never going to end. Or I think that you can embrace what you have in the present and just enjoy that.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. I love that you said that. Because that's the thing, we never stop changing. We never stop. Our bodies change every 7 years, whether we check in on it or not. It does. So we are going to age. We are going to die. These are concrete things, and they are heavy, man. But if I can offer a little bit of levity and talk to you with my pretty cards, and we can break this down in a little bit of a less doom and gloom atmosphere, that's what I want to do. I want to talk about real things. I'm not bypassing anything over here. I'm not saying that struggles don't exist. Quite the opposite. I think we need this kind of joy, for lack of a better word. Sometimes I say that I like to think of myself as a cheerleader for humanity, because I think we all need it. We all need to hear that we're doing okay. And that even if we don't feel our best, it will get better. We have to believe that. I mean, like I said, it's too easy for this life to feel like a funeral march, like a funeral dredge, whatever the word is. But yeah, it's too easy. So we need more levity.
Right. No, I agree. I don't know, like I you know what I feel like giving the read in general of the three cards is like, take your time, like settle down, reflect, and just continue.
And I just got to stress that you're not being punished, and that you're not, that it is frustrating. And I'm not trying to say that it's not right now, but it's not because of anything you did wrong. You're not being punished. We're meant to go through the pandemic this way, with so much conflict and so many people not being on the same page, because that's the way it is. And we're supposed to go through it because that's the way it happened. So we can't get hung up on this thing of like, oh, if things were different, oh, if people had only done this. I think that is so frustrating, because that's just living in the past. So what we can do is take a look around, see how things actually are, and make decisions accordingly. That's it.
Yes, and I wanted to add something like, don't attach to the illusion that there's an end and you're going to be done, because that is not going to happen. And actually life will come with a new challenge. So just keep flowing.
Yes, keep flowing.
Yes, and understand that you have things to embrace, and there are other things that maybe are not working and you don't have those results, but then they are going to come. And then other results are going to go away. And that's life. We're always moving.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, and in the meantime, if you do feel frustrated, or you do start to get that feeling of you're being punished, go for a walk, go outside. It's like, you need to connect with nature. I understand there's a lot of snow going on right now too, so maybe that's not the best thing you can do, but connect with yourself. If it's not with tarot cards, if you're not going to do that, then, and if you're not going to therapy right now, you know, if you don't have a workout regimen, if you don't have a morning routine, I just encourage you to find something to be your rock in the storm, as I call it, because I have felt like this whole thing has been an unstoppable hurricane that just kind of picks up and then dies down and then picks up, but it's never gone. So I need to be the thing that's constant and this thing that's forever changing. And when I say constant, I don't mean, you know, I don't want people to get hung up on the idea, because we just talked about being unattached and how important that is. When I'm talking about these routines, it's just like a morning routine. Like mine, I want to share that with everyone. Can I share my morning routine with everyone? I want to do that. So my morning routine, I want to do 10 minutes of quiet. And that's usually like I call meditation. You can call it whatever you want, but just like 10 minutes of like no TV on. And I'm just laying back on my yoga mat and just, you know, listening and just letting myself speak to me a little bit, trying to just focus on my breathing, but thoughts are going to come up. We know that, but it's just a chance for me to kind of check in and see what kind of thoughts are coming up. Is it more negative? Is it more positive? Is it a mix? Let's combat that and make sure it's balanced. Then I move on to just a little bit of movement. I just need to feel like I'm moving my body. I was talking to my friend Rebecca the other day, and one thing that I said, that I came up with this routine because I just felt like I needed something that I could do if I was living on a spaceship, because I kind of felt like that's where the apocalypse was heading. So I was like, if I was in the movie Aliens and just confined to a bunker, what could I still do in that room to keep my sanity? And so movement, yoga, I like that, but just stretching, anything. And that's it, another 10 minutes. And then I finish out with my cards, and that's journaling too. So I'll start with journaling, just kind of seeing whatever came up in that meditation yoga mix. And I'll write a little bit, and then I'll take out my cards and I'll just start pulling and seeing what it brings up about usually what I just journaled, what just came up for me is what I'm thinking about. And then that's it. That's my routine. So anyway, I just wanted to throw all that because maybe there's something in there for someone. You're like, oh, I like that little, I'll take that like 5 minutes and adjust it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes of each. Sometimes we don't have time for that. That's fine. The thing is, and that's what I want to say about this too, about this routine and structure. The beautiful thing about structure is it gives you something to do and to show up for, but it cannot become something that you punish yourself for if you fall short. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that if I do the 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes, I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm saying I still showed up and I did something. It's about having a rock in the storm. You know, I talked about that storm and having the rock, just that little bit of stability, just not something you punish yourself with. Yeah. So I wanted to share that. Thank you for letting me.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to ask you if you wanted to add some comments on the read. I'm receiving messages from Michael, so like his message.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Let me pull one more card so that way we'll have a little taste of all the decks, and that'll be like our closer. We'll say that this kind of puts a cherry on top of everything. So yeah, let's close this out. But we talked about overcoming fear today and imposter syndrome and still showing up. You know, I didn't know exactly what was going to come out of my mouth today, but I just knew that I wanted to come and share. That's all. So I encourage everyone else to do the same. Don't be so afraid about that you're not ready. People want you to share because, like I said, storytelling, that's how we learn. Right. So you are worthy to tell your story, and your commitment is being tested. Yes, you're being thrown some challenges, but that doesn't mean you're being punished. It's just about what you can do during that frustration. Like I said, move your body, get outside of your mind. Do something for someone else. That also comes up. You know, if you're so consumed with yourself, it's like, get outside of yourself. Talk to someone else. You'll feel better. All right, let's pull.
I'm intrigued with the last card.
I know. Let's get it. One last card for the collective. We got take risk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Take a risk.
Take a risk, get outside of your comfort zone. You'll see the goat on here, the mountain goat. So one thing about this card, when we talk about the goat, it's like challenges are different to everybody. And I say that because this mountain goat can look at a mountain and go, oh, I can do that. That's what I do. I climb mountains, you know? We can look at it and be like, that's impossible. We can't. Not to this guy, he does it. And it's all about perspective, right? So also I want to say, if you are saying that something is too impossible and it's too far out of your reach, then it is, if that's how you feel about it. You have to start believing it yourself. If you start believing that it's possible, then guess what? It's possible, baby. But you have to believe it first. People aren't going to understand what they don't see. So that can be very frustrating, right? No one said it was easy to be a trailblazer, right? Everyone wants to stand out and you know, be a firework and do it. And that's not easy. When people are different, they're usually burned at the stake. I hate to tell you, but that's usually what happens. People see something different and go, no, that's crazy. We have to kill it. But if you do feel that you are being called to do something a little different, to speak outside the box, hello, me growing up Roman Catholic, now talking about this stuff. I get it, what it feels like to change. It doesn't mean you're not worthy of the cause or of the calling. So follow it if you are getting this calling, to step outside of your comfort zone, to take a risk within reason, within reason. I got to say that to everyone watching. I'm not saying that doesn't mean like, well, I want to know what it's like to step into traffic. I'm not saying that. That's not a risk I want you to take. I want you to take a calculated risk. Okay. So first of all, believe in yourself that it's something you can do, and then write out actionable steps about how you can do it. And then it won't feel like a mountain.
Great.
Does that resonate?
Yes, of course. Actually, I'm thinking about challenges that I have that I was delaying. I want to keep them as a secret. I'm not going to share them, okay?
That's fine. Keep them a secret.
Clear. But I'm clear. I'm clear with the next step. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And my deadline is going to be tomorrow, okay? Yes, tomorrow, Fred. That's my deadline.
And here's the thing, if you don't make that deadline, I'm not going to be mad at you and I will not judge you. I think that's important. It's good to have your structure, but don't be so rigid that you feel bad about yourself if you don't do it. But yes, so what's that thing? I love that quote, shoot for the stars, because even if you miss, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Like, have that goal. Yes. Be honest with what you want to reach for, but also keep in mind that the universe has another plan for you too. And it may be even better than you thought, because we only know what we can imagine. We only know what we've seen, and what we've seen has been in our past. We don't even know what's coming and what it looks like. So let's try to be a little positive about it and I always say, like, have your goals. And then even if you're someone who writes down everything and is very meticulous about it, leave a little margin at the top that just says, leaving a little room for miracles, you know, something corny, something just like, and not just corny, the universe does surprise us, and that's a fact. So just leave a little room for surprise. And that definitely ties in with what you and I talked about with attachment. You know, it's good to have goals, but let's not get so attached that we miss the beauty. Okay.
That's great. That's great. Yes. So keep moving. If you don't get the result, it's not that terrible. And you're going to advance at least. So that's good. And that is something to embrace too. That's what you're saying.
And one last thing for everyone, I just want to say is you can't miss what's meant for you. That's what I want to believe. I know I don't always feel it. I feel like I'm running late for my life, but you know, I want to believe that's my own personal work, is that it's not possible for us to miss the things that are meant for us. It's just going to be, if the timing isn't up to us, that's all.
Right. Dan, like, thanks for this opportunity. I'm glad that we had the chance to talk and that you were very generous and share with us the cards. And actually you threw some cards over the table. So thanks for that. And I would like you to give the information of yourself to let people know how they can contact you and reach out if they want to have a session.
Thank you. I
And remember
appreciate
them
that.
of the discount, please.
That's right. You get a discount just by mentioning that you were a viewer. So yeah, you can reach out to my email, which is Dan Testa Tarot. So let me spell my name for you. DANTESTA, and then the word tarot, TAROT, @gmail.com. And like I said, you get $20 off. Can't beat that with a stick, right? Whatever that means. And that's how you can make your reading with me. They usually last about an hour to an hour and a half. So trust me, if you've got a question, it will be answered. I'm not going to leave you with any wishy-washy messages, I promise.
That's great. That's great. Anything else that you would like to add?
I can't think of anything. I just want to say thank you again for having me. Like I said, being a fan and watching every episode and now being on one, I can't tell you how special it is. So, and thank you so much for the work that you've been doing. I definitely benefit from all of the mental health tidbits that you've been offering. So thank you so much for doing that, and keep that coming as much as you feel called to do.
You're very welcome. And please, like, I will be very glad to have you again in the future, like in some months, like to read the cards again and to know what's happening in terms of our community energy.
I was going to say, we're all sharing stories now, all of us. So yeah, we have to keep each other up to date on what's going on. I would love to come back. Absolutely. It would be a dream. So thank you.
Perfect. So I will see you soon. Okay.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Wait. Okay. So it stopped.
It stopped. Great.
Yes.
How did we do?
Let me see how it finishes on Facebook, and then I'm going to get back. Hold on.
Sure. That was fun.
Did you like it? How did you feel?
I loved it. I felt great about it. I feel like my own problem is I just tend to do run-on sentences and just talk and talk. So I feel like that's